Welcome to another unit in this SQL course. Well, in previous sessions we talked about how I can use the where command to actually filter my query. At this point I want to add a little bit how we can use so-called wildcards in this querying process, meaning where we can look for patterns instead of certain terms. As you see here, I still have the query open where I selected all those employees whose department is sales. So here I have the list of the employees. Here, after departments, I'm looking for those 5 guys who work in sales. So I'm looking for a specific term. If, however, I'm looking, for example, for names, I see here I have 2 people in my data set called Maya with E-Y and A-Y. So if I were to look for people called by Maya, I might have to look up all different combinations. I could look up E-Y, E-I, A-Y, A-I, or only Y. So I have to find a more convenient way so that I do not have a really large list of names I have to check. So how can I do this? Well, first off, I have to look for the last name. So that filters for the last name. And then I can use the part like. Like means he's following some kind of pattern. Putting this in quotation marks, in single quotation marks. And here I'm looking, well, let's say first off for people of this structure, so with a Y, but this letter, this could be anything. This could be A, could be E, could be whatever. So if I want to do this, I'm going to use a question mark here. The question mark tells SQL there is one letter here, but I do not care what letter this is. One side note at this point, you use a question mark if you work with Microsoft Access. You would use an underline if you're working with SQL for servers. So there's a slight difference there. However, at this point, well, we're using Access here, so we're using the question mark, meaning there's exactly one letter here. I'm going to save this, execute this, so you see I get 2 people here. However, well, the name M-Y-E-R might also be suitable, and I wouldn't actually be able to get these results with this because the question mark requires that there actually is exactly one letter. So a different alternative would be I'm using an asterisk. An asterisk means there could be anything between 0 and whatever many different letters there. So if I put an asterisk between M and ER, this allows for any combinations. Could be just a Y, could be AY, could be AI, could be any name which starts with an M and ends with an ER. So let's try this. If I do it like this, I see, well, it works for both Myers, this Meyer and that Meyer. However, we also have a problem, it also works for Miller. Because this Miller guy, well, it starts with M, ends with ER. So the same structure. So I might have to be a bit more sophisticated with my search, but I think it gets across the idea of the different search patterns. By the way, again, the asterisk we're going to use in Microsoft Access. If you were to work with SQL for servers, this would be the percentage sign. So either exactly one letter, that's a question mark, or anything between 0 and theoretically an infinite number of signs, that would be the asterisk. And it's always with like, meaning it follows the pattern as described here. You could also go and say, well, I combine this. I'm putting like a question mark here, meaning it starts with an M, then I have any number of letters, And then the second to last letter is an E, and there's one final letter. So it would allow for Meyer, would also be allowed for Meyel, but wouldn't allow for Meyer, start ending with an E. So there need to be a final letter. And well, that's already everything I wanted to mention here. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope to see you again in one of the future ones. So see you and bye.